Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all well. Welcome to another retouching video. This is a step-by-step retouch. I'm going to be using the dodge and burn method primarily, which is a much longer time-consuming method. The results are good. I will be using a little bit of frequency separation, but primarily it's going to be dodging and burning. I did recently do another picture of this set, and that took me an hour and 30 minutes. So hopefully it won't take that long, but it will be a step-by-step retouch, and hopefully you'll be here for the majority of the retouch. I will try not to bore you, and if there is any areas where I'm just working, then I will try and speed those up. But in the most part, I'm going to try and stick with you guys, and hopefully you can stick with me for this retouch. So first of all, here is the image. I absolutely love the picture. I love the makeup. I love the model. I love the skin color. I love the lighting. I think I really nailed it with the lighting here. It's just a beautiful picture. It's got so much emotion to it. Yeah, I'm really pleased, and it's been a long time since I've been quite excited about my own work, believe it or not. But this image has. And what's also really excited me is when I've brought the picture into Camera Raw and I actually start to look at the quality, the image quality of this picture from the Sony a7 III and the Canon 100mm macro f2.8L IS. What a beautiful combination that is. I mean, the texture, the skin quality, the detail, the gradations of color. The Sony sensor just absolutely annihilates the 5D3 sensor in every way. There's just no comparison. I love the quality. I love the sharpness. The Canon lens is superb on this camera body, and they worked amazingly well. So this has been shot at f8, 1/100th of a second, ISO 200, 100mm here. Here we go. Here's the image here. A couple of adjustments I've made to start off with. I changed the profile to Adobe Standard. The white balance is exactly as it was shot. Temperature, I've cooled a little bit, and the tint, I've added a little bit of magenta because we're looking very green. That is it. Everything else I've not touched. I'm not touching exposure. I'm not touching. This is exactly how the image was exposed in camera. It was beautifully, I mean, the shadow detail, the dynamic range of the sensor is fantastic. Such a beautiful image quality to work from. And that's it. I'm just going to crack this guy straight open into Photoshop. Now you'll see this is the Camera Raw version. This is the JPEG version. So this is JPEG. This is the RAW. What I will do, I'll just copy the JPEG version onto the RAW version, just so you can see the difference. So this is the JPEG, right? So obviously there's a little bit more contrast. Let me turn it off and turn it back on. You know, it's a little bit sharper. There's a bit more contrast. The highlights are a bit more brighter. The shadows are a little deeper. But you know, as far as a JPEG file goes, I mean, I could edit this JPEG file and not even really need to use the RAW file if I really wanted to. You're going to get a beautiful picture. The JPEG file quality is outstanding. I'm going to delete that. I'm going to work with the RAW file. Okay, let's get started. Let's make a new layer. I'll call this clean. And you'll notice when I retouch, I actually have quite a few different cleaning phases. I don't just have the one cleaning phase. I have quite a few because I miss things and I come back to them and I clean up other things. So it moves around. I've got to make sure I've got sample all layers. That way I'm going to be healing everything underneath the blank layer. I'm doing it on a blank layer because I want to make sure I can control it. Now with this kind of retouch as well, and by the way, I've got my healing brush. This is a regular healing brush. Spot healing, it's set to normal, so I don't have to sample anything. I'll just paint over what I want to get rid of. With this retouch, and if you look at the other piece I've just done, it's really about trying to maintain a natural look, right? You want to create an edit which the photograph looks real. I mean, I don't want to make it look plastic. I don't want the face to look overly fake. I want the viewer to look at the picture and really be absorbed by the image, the emotion, the portrait, the eye contact, the expression, the mood, the atmosphere. I don't want them to go, oh, wow, that's a heavily retouched. But I don't want the retouch to be the main attraction point or the main thing that catches the eye. So we want to maintain a sense of realism, and we want to make the model look like it is her own skin, that it hasn't been heavily retouched. And in my opinion, in order for you to achieve that, there's going to be two main things in my eyes. Number one, the skin has to retain its texture. So skin has to continue looking like skin. It shouldn't look like a blurred plastic mess. And naturally, it is obviously going to depend on what you're doing and what the actual end result is and what kind of look you're going for. But when it's like this, when it's this kind of work, I would like to think your focus is the actual subject and, like I said, the mood, the expression, and also this element that, yeah, the skin is beautiful, it's perfect, it's kind of it's not perfectly real in the sense that it just looks very, very nice. But at the same time, it's got to be believable. I think if you go past that realm where you go into this, oh my God, this is so fake looking, and that happens when you start to like blur the skin, and the skin loses its texture and it just stops looking authentic. It stops looking real. So one of the things is the avoiding the blur and retaining of the skin texture. That's super important. Secondly, it's also about, again, this is just my views, it is about retaining imperfections, like including some obvious imperfections or characteristics that you would associate with real people and real skin. So for example, in this piece, it's retaining this little mole here. It's retaining this little mole here. It's keeping this little mole here. Even this one on this side. Because, you know, real people have these real moles. And this image here, I don't want every single thing to be perfect. I'm not going to come up here and remove every single strand of hair in this area here. I'm not going to get rid of every single strand of hair here either. I'm going to keep these things because I want the portrait to look a little bit, you know, a little bit more rough. I want it to look a little bit more authentic. I'm going to be removing things that are distracting, okay? Like this area here, that was a little bit distracting, okay? So I'm going to remove it. Now I'm going to get the, I'm actually going to go back in time here. I'm going to do a Control Z. I'm going to go back because I didn't really like the way I did this. I'm going to change this to darken. I'm going to try the darken. Let's come up here and let's see how that works. Yeah, you see that's better. Now setting it to darken means it's only going to remove anything that is lighter. It's going to darken everything so it matches up that area. Now I am left with a dark spot here, but I will remove that later on. Okay, let's come into the normal, and I'm going to get rid of some of this stuff on the chin. Now, I was looking at this afterwards and thinking, what were these little bits here? And I realised they were like little bits of glitter. And to me, they just didn't look very nice. So I'm just going to kind of get rid of them a little bit there. That looks fine. I'm just going to move around and see if there's any other major imperfections I need to get rid of right now. No, that's fine. Now we've got quite an excessive amount of hair up here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the stamp tool now, current and below. I'm going to sample this area and I'm going to paint this down here like this. Okay. Zoom out. I'm going to see what's happened. Yeah, looks okay. I think that's fine. That will work. You can fix some of these light and dark areas later on. But overall, I'm quite happy with that. Now, I'm looking at the eyes and I'm seeing this vein in the eye here. And I'm thinking to myself, do I like it? And personally, I like it. I quite like the vein. I like to see these vessels. There's something about it. This whole look, she's not super pretty. It is a little bit peculiar. It's a little bit, she looks a little bit sickly, which is what we were going for. The palette on the makeup is quite pale. I quite like it. I'm going to leave it now. I'm not going to touch it. I might adjust it later on. But for now, it doesn't bother me. Let's come on to the body. Let's get our spot healing brush tool again. And the size of the healing brush tool is not massive. It's about the same size as the things that I'm healing. And I'm gonna leave a fair amount of, I'm gonna leave that mole in there. I'm gonna leave this mole in here. Let's come over here. I'm gonna get rid of what looks like spots as opposed to moles. So we've got quite a lot of moles here. I'm going to actually double check something. I'm gonna check the mole. I'm just gonna come up to the edit from the previous shot. Where did I save that? I think I threw it in the video thing, didn't I? No, I didn't. I put it in the video, exported video. I know it's a silly place to put it. Let's check this out. Let's see which mole I left. So I left this top one here. This one I left the mole on a lip. Eye, boom, boom, and that one. Okay. So that one and that one. So I'm gonna get rid of this guy and I'm gonna get rid of that guy. Okay, so those are the two moles I left, and then I had like 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, just want to be consistent between the two images. Okay, I'll get rid of this little blemish here. Get rid of this little guy in the shoulder. But again, I'm not getting rid of everything. Just getting rid of the things that I think are not needed. But I am keeping things. This is the realism. This is what's gonna make it more believable, more authentic, you could say. Okay, so that's enough healing for now. What I will do next, I'll run this action. This is my silky skin dodging and burning action. And not only does the action create the brighten and the darken layer, where we use a brush set to white with a flow of 3%. I'm going to make sure I'm on the right brush, not the mixer brush. So let's go 3% flow, 100% opacity. Make sure it's a soft brush. Make sure I'm on the brighten layer. And then I'm going to come in and I'm going to start to look at all these dark patches, which I can see these like dark patches here. Very easily identifiable because we're only working in black and white. We're not distracted by any color. We're looking at value, and value of tone makes life so much easier. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to start to run my brush over these areas. I'm just going to go over them, and I'm trying not to go over it more than twice. I'm just moving it backwards and forwards, and I'm moving. I don't want to spend any period of time on each area. I will come back. So this is like my once over first. I'm just starting off and I'm giving things a once over. And a lot of this is looking at your work, looking around, moving around, checking things out. And what I'm actually going to do to make life easy for myself, because you know, you are supposed to jump out and zoom in, zoom out to actually see the effect that you're having. And if you just turn that on and off, you can see already we've cleaned that up. But I want to also have a zoomed in view and a zoomed out view at the same time. So I don't need to zoom in and out. I can just look over to the left. So I'm going to go to arrange. I'm going to click new window. So what it's going to do, it's going to open up the exact same picture, but it's going to open it in a new window. I'm going to close the JPEG. So I've got both of these, and I'm going to go window, arrange, 2 up vertical. So here we have the two pictures. I've got a zoomed out view And on this side, I'm going to work with the zoomed in view, like so. Okay, so I can work at a pixel level here. Well, not really a pixel level, but a closer zoom level. And I can also see the effects that my work is having on the zoomed out. That means I don't have to keep zooming in and out, and I can just glance over to the side and I can see the areas that I need to work on a bit more. Okay, let's continue this process. And this is quite a long process. I'm going to try and work as quickly as I can. But you know, I kind of want this step by step to be useful. And if it means I have to do this in real time all the way through. Now I'm using a smaller brush here. Let me zoom in a little bit more. I'm going to use a smaller brush. Let's go back to brush. And I'm going to work in these areas here. I'm going to lighten these areas. The aim is I'm trying to even out the dark and light. I'm trying to remove dark blotches by adding light. And essentially, it is essentially just a curves layer. So we've brightened it and then we've masked it out. And now we're bringing back light in areas. Now this is very different, obviously, from just blurring, because all you do when you blur, you just mix light and dark values, and the problem with that is you tend to lose skin texture unless you are blurring on a frequency separated layer where you separate value, light and dark, and color from detail and texture. But the problem is there you can then have an overly smooth blurry mess and then with a very artificial looking texture over the top, and it can still look pretty poor. So now I'm moving around, I'm glancing over to the left hand side occasionally, and I'm looking at what's going on. I can see we've got this here, these dark patches, and I want to kind of make sure these look nice. Now this is a collaboration shoot, okay? So this was done purely for I wanted to try something out, wanted to work with this makeup artist, wanted to create something that I don't normally get paid for. It's not professional work. I'm not getting paid for this. And it's these kinds of things where you can be creative, you can have a lot of fun, and you know, money's not a problem because it's got nothing to do with money. Because if I only did work that I got paid for, I'd get very bored very, very quickly. And as I have been very busy with professional work, this is the first kind of stuff that suffers, right? Collaborative work, experimental, creative stuff, because you don't have time, and paid work is always going to take precedence over non-paid work. Just collaborations like this, they always end up taking the back burner, and you know, before you know it, you've become so bogged down with all of the professional work that you start getting kind of creatively starved, and you actually really want to get out and do something else. Therefore, collaborations don't only feed you creatively, but they're also just a really good opportunity to try new things, right? And I've learned more through collaborations, developed ideas and technique, and because you can be risk-taking, you can experiment, and you know, there isn't that pressure of, oh, will the client like this and so forth. And you can really, you know, push yourself, work out your comfort zone, or just do stuff that you enjoy, you know. And hopefully if you enjoy it and, you know, you love what you're doing and you put the time into it, the planning stage and the execution, and then obviously like the edit, I can guarantee if you really like it and the people you've collaborated with really like it, there's a very good chance other people who put the work, who see your work, will also like it. But you have to ask yourself, you know, why are you doing the collaboration? Is it for yourself? Is it for other people? Are you producing work that you hope other people like? Obviously, that's always going to be a a thought. You know, when your work is liked by other people, it gives you validation that what you've done is good. But really, when it's not client work, do it for yourself. You know, do what you want to do, what you enjoy. But again, work out your comfort zone. Try and do new stuff, man. You know, like, try and do it. You never know what you might achieve by actually having a crack at something new. Okay, let's just turn off the brighten layer and see the before and the after. You can see there's a lot going on. It might not appear that there's a lot. Now I'm using a Wacom tablet and pen because honestly, without a Wacom tablet and pen, I don't know how on earth you can do this work. You can't do it. You can't do it properly. So if you haven't invested in a Wacom tablet and pen, or you may have, and it's sitting in the cupboard because you only tried it for a day or two and you gave up and you don't realize you need at least a week of continual use before it becomes natural and you get used to it, dust it off, get it out, get it connected, and start working with it. Because for this kind of work, it is essential, absolutely essential. So I've worked this area, and I'm going to just show you my mask. I'm going to Alt and click on the mask. So this is all the marks. Let me zoom out. These are all the marks I've made so far on the face. Cool, right? Okay, let's move back in. Let's get my brush again. I'm just going to see what's going on. I'm looking over to the side. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get a slightly bigger brush. And I'm going to start to make some larger brush strokes. And I'm going to try and cover larger areas now. I need a larger stroke. And I am just gliding the Wacom pen over the surface. I'm not applying much pressure whatsoever. It's a little bit dark in here, a bit here. Come into this corner eye area here. Obviously we've got these dark patches under the eye. Now the fill that I used, I didn't want to use a lot of excessive fill. I quite like the slightly dark under eye look. Just looks more dramatic. Again, I quite like to see in this kind of work, some bags under the eyes, because everyone has bags under the eyes. I don't want to fill it all with light. I don't want to wash out the face with light, even light, above and below. You see that with a lot of beauty stuff. You see light from above and below, because obviously it's beauty and they want to make all the skin look super radiant. But for this, I don't. It's portraiture, man. I want to see form. I want to see three-dimensional form. I want to create the illusion of three-dimensional form. It only can be created with the inclusion of both light and shadow, right? So you can't create the illusion of form without light and shadow, or dark and light. You just can't do it. So this lighting pattern, the light wasn't dead central. The fill wasn't coming directly from underneath. It was all off to the side. So we're creating shadows. Yes, they're not deep, dark, intense shadows, but they don't need to be in order to create the illusion of form, but they have to be present. So the way I lit this was extremely intentional, of course, and I really like it. I really love the lighting pattern. Now I'm going to come into the eyes here, and I'm just going to lighten a little bit. This area here. I'm going to come into the corner of the eye. Like I said, I don't want to get rid of the darkness. I want to keep it, but I want the dark areas to be consistent. I don't want patches that are too dark within the dark areas, if you know what I mean. I'm trying to even it all out. And where I've got a highlight running down here, I don't want it to be super crooked. So I'm kind of filling the edges. And where you're supposed to dodge, where you're supposed to burn, the more you do it, the more you practice, the more you'll start to see things. And again, it'll become it'll become second nature. Now, where did I learn how to dodge and burn and stuff like that? The internet. I did get a couple of DVDs. There was a really good DVD I bought years ago when I first got into this. This was before you could get online courses, and that was Natalia Taffarel's Retouching DVD. And I still have that DVD to this day. It's such a brilliant course it was. I learned so much from that. I did try, I sat there, went through it quite a few times, before I picked it up. And I will be the first one to admit I am not a professional retoucher. In fact, I wouldn't even class myself as a really good retoucher, not whatsoever. Some of my techniques and methods might be a bit crude. I'm missing things often, but for the work I do, I quite like the results I'm getting. Would I get a better result if I gave it to a professional high-end retoucher? Yes, I probably would. And I would expect to, because that is their forte. But am I going to send this collaborative piece to a retoucher? No, I want to do it myself. I want to have full control. I want to, again, brush up on my skills and develop it how I want. And it's not a client work. If it was a client piece and they wanted pure perfection, then I would maybe send it to a retoucher, and I have done in the past, and I would have charged accordingly for that. But in this case, I don't want to do this. I want to do it myself because I actually enjoy this. I enjoy the process of retouching when I have been the orchestrator of the shoot, when I have planned the shoot, when it's my concept, when I have been involved in the styling, when I have worked really closely with the other collaborators. I want to be the person also involved in this stage as well, because if there are any changes I need to make, I can do them myself, right? Don't need to contact anybody, don't need to wait for a revision, blah blah blah. And I think whether you do get your own stuff retouched, you should be able to retouch yourself, because I have often sent work off to retouchers, it's come back and there's little things that I want to fix, and rather than sending it back for the fixing, I've just done it myself because it's been relatively small, and if I didn't have that knowledge to start with, I'd be scuppered. So learn the retouching yourself, learn the craft, learn the art of it. We've got some big patches down here. I'm going to get a bigger brush. I'm just going to try and lighten this whole area. I'm looking over to the left to see how this looks. Yeah, it's working. I want to create a nice round shape here. That to blend out. Now there's some light areas as well that are overly light, which I will darken as well. Now I'm just going to turn off the temporary layer. I need to see this in color. I'm going to zoom out. I'm going to see what's going on here. So we've got some areas where we've got a bit of discoloration. We'll fix that in a minute. And let's do a before and after. Let's take off the brighten layer and let's bring it on. So you can see we've filled a lot of these dark patches, but in no way does any of it look fake. All the skin texture's still there. It looks really nice. Really happy with it. I'm going to get my brush, big brush, and I'm just going to add a bit of light in this area here. Just going to lighten this. Just like that. That was the before, that was the after, that was the before. I'm going to show you something really cool. I'm going to do it again. And as soon as I've done it, I'm going to hold the Control Shift and F, and I get the fade tool. Now the fade tool is amazing because anything you do, if I was to draw a big black line across her face, as soon as I click Control Shift F, I get the fade tool, which means anything I've done, I can fade it from 0 to 100%. So I, got rid of that whole line across her face, but I don't want to. I want there to be an impression of it. So I'm going to bring it down to 70. How good is that? You can fade anything you've done. That's brilliant. Okay. Now let's see what else we're going to do here. Well, there's a lot to do yet, but we're gonna sort some things out. I'm going to come up here now. Okay. Now what I will do is I'm going to create a new stamp visible layer. That's everything I've just done. I'm just going to click Control S as well. I'm going to drop this guy on the desktop. Save that. Don't want anything crashing. And now I'm going to use the patch tool. Now the patch tool is a very powerful tool. It's sometimes quite underrated. Patch tool, I'm going to select this area here and I'm going to drag down here and I'm going to copy that texture. That didn't work as well as I wanted. Maybe here. Okay, so anywhere where I've got some of this discoloration, I'm going to try and fix it. Okay, let's zoom out a bit. Let's take this area here. I'm going to drag it up there. Now we have this major blemish. So I want to, I've selected it. I've got to make sure I've got source on, and I'm going to drag it over here. I'm going to drop it, and it's copied that texture over it, but used the same color and it's blended it as well. I've got this little blemish here. I'm going to take that, I'm going to drop that there. I'm just going to go around now, and I'm just going to kind of pick out things. So here you can see under the eye, we've got this element here. And the reason why I'm creating this jagged selection, I just find when you do that, when you match up some skin tone, because the jagged selection is jagged, it fits with the skin texture better, it blends better. Now I've just moved that, and I'm going to press Ctrl-Shift-F. I'm going to bring up the fade tool just as I showed you, and Ctrl-H just to hide the selection. And I'm going to drag this down to 0. So this is what we had. Now I'm going to bring this up until that fades out, and I've got a nice blend. 83%, boom. How good is that, right? Sick. Right, let's come over here and grab that. I've got all these light patches. I could use the burn tool and just darken them, but I find using the patch tool is super convenient. And here we've got this discoloration. I'm just going to drag up here. I'm trying to sample things that are relatively close to the offending area, right? Because I don't want to be bringing in textures from other parts of the face which are nowhere near close to the actual area that I want to fix, because then you just get this weird thing. Now, once again, you might be looking at this and going, oh, well, he's missed that bit and that bit doesn't look great. Absolutely. And I will be fixing more stuff. Like I said before, I do this in phases. I miss stuff all the time, and I come back and I clean things up later. So we've got a bit of discoloration here. I've lost a little bit of skin texture here, so I'm going to drag it from over here. I'm going to bring that in. Take this one over here. Now some of this skin texture was lost when I was doing the healing, and to be honest, I was a bit sloppy there. I should have actually healed in a slightly better way there. I should have used the healing brush tool rather than the spot healing brush tool, and actually got some texture along. So I'm going to take this section here, I'm going to remove that. Not going to look very nice. Let's just go back. Got this little line here I'm not happy with. Take that. That's better. Okay, got this kind of nasty texture going on there. Yeah, okay. So it's a little bit gritty down here. Just gonna clean up the best I can right now. Said I'll come back to that and I'll fix it in a bit. What else have we got? Let's see here. Just a little thin line. Fix that as well. Let's go to the nose. Get rid of that little spot which I missed in the first place. I'm gonna keep that. That's nice. Looks fine. Just gonna go back. Check that one. Here's a little spot. Here. That looks good. It's a little light spot. Fix it with a slightly darker area. Take that. Fix that there. That looks good. Come over here. And just fix this kind of stuff. So hopefully you guys are not bored yet and falling asleep. And whilst you are watching, I just want to start off by, well, just thank you whilst you're watching and say thank you for everyone who has been subscribing, following, commenting, all that kind of stuff. It's not my full-time job. I made a video the other day about this. You know, why I make these videos, why I don't make these videos, what my intentions are behind the videos, what I hope people will find useful from the videos. And, you know, I just want to say thank you to everyone who does take a bit of time out and comments. Appreciate that. Okay, let's see what we're going to do with the eye. I'm going to fix some of these orange spots here. Again, because we've got some distinctly strong orange eyeshadow residue, you could say, that was left, which needs fixing. And we've got this dark patch here now, which I'm just going to try something. I'm going to take this whole thing and drag it over here and see what happens. Yeah, looks okay. I will fix it with some more dodging and burning in a bit. Looks okay, get rid of that. Clean up this. Little spots here and there. So you can see what's going on. I'm just using the patch tool as a way to clean things up. Move out here. What's this? A light spot here. Get rid of that. That's fine. Get rid of that little spot there. Lips are beautiful. I'm not going to touch those. Okay, let's come down here. Pick that guy. Fix him. Okay. Right. Let's do another dodge and burn layer. This time we're going to use a Brighton. And we're going to use just white paint on a neutral grey, 50% grey layer, which is the same as a curves layer, essentially, just lightening everything. I'm going to create a black and white layer. I'll bring down the reds a bit. It's going to allow me to see issues. Come to Brighton, make sure I've got my brush set to white, 3% flow. And let's start to lighten again. Any areas that are too dark. Under here, this area here. Some of these patches. And it's also normal, like when you're retouching, that sometimes you're hitting the undo command, because it's very easy to go too far. And if you are doing something and then you find you've gone too much with your brush, maybe your flow's too high, maybe you're putting in too much pressure. But, you know, it's fine. If you have to just do Control Z and do it again, it's fine. You just do it, you know. You can't be expected, and don't feel you need to be able to get it perfect the first time. It's, you know, even if you've been retouching a while, I still think Control Z is still your best friend. See, went too strong there, so I just got rid of it. Paint back in. Now, although the majority of this is dodging and burning, like when I say the majority of this, I mean the majority of the skin kind of smoothing using dodging and burn. I don't only use dodge and burn. I also use frequency separation. Frequency separation, oh my god, that's so not high-end. How dare you? Real retouchers don't use frequency separation. Oh, you know what? I really don't care, man, to be honest. At the end of the day, why does it matter? You know, I'm not a professional retoucher. I'm not getting paid to retouch this. I'm doing it for myself. If I like the result and it's quick and it works, then use it. You know, use it. And, you know, I've never been asked wow, that's a really good picture, you know. But did you use frequency separation? No, no one asks you that. They might ask you what techniques you used. Was there any frequency separation used when you start talking about the retouching method? But no one contacts you and goes, oh, I can see the frequency separation in that picture. Because the way I use it, I think I use it in a way where it's quite subtle, it's not crazy. I try and do the majority of the fixes using this dodging and burning technique. Let's just turn this off and on and see what we're getting. Okay, looking good. Let's work the eye a bit more. I don't mind this vein, but I want this to be a nice highlight which is even from top to bottom. I'm just going to lighten a little bit around here. Just want the transition to be a bit more gradual. Okay, it's looking okay. Did a Control Z, felt it went a bit heavy on that. Let's just lighten this a bit more. Okay, let's turn off the black and white layer. Let's do a before and an after. Before and an after. I think I went too heavy with that. So I'm going to come onto the masks. Layer's got a mask. I'm just going to use a black brush. I'm just going to mask some of this back in. This is the power of masks. You can have a lot of control. Just bring that back in. That's better. Let's come back onto here. Let's get my white brush. I'm just going to add a little bit in here. Now I'm gonna avoid using the black and white layer. Now I want to just do things with color. I want to see things in color, and I want to fix things. Okay, that's nice. Too strong. Let's run this. No, I'm gonna keep that exactly how it was. I don't want to change that. That was nice. Little patch there. What about this eye? Okay, I'll just lighten a little bit here. Blend this in here. Again, I just don't want to do. I don't want to overdo it, man. You know, I like this picture as it is. Let's just come in here. It's too strong. Let's go back. Okay, that's better. Let's clean up this. Right, now I'm going to move forward. With that, I'm going to zoom out a little bit. I want to show you all the before and after of where we're at so far. I'm going to put all of this into one group. I'm going to turn that group off. Before, after, before, after. Now do remember, let me just check that again. Before, after, yeah, good. Now, do remember, no blurring has happened right now. No blurring. I've noticed this dark patch. See, just coming out and then having a look, you can see things that you might have missed. I'm going to come back in. I'm just going to fix that a little bit there. A little bit there. It's a mini change. Just in here. Around here, okay. What else do I want to do? Okay, I'm going to put all these, I'm going to merge them all. And I'm going to call this Clean 1. I'm going to save this Photoshop layer. Yes, I've got rid of all those layers. Yep, I've got rid of them. I don't need them. I'm happy with what I've got. So it will reduce the file size. It will keep things ticking over without things getting too extensive, you know. This is a relatively small image now. I'm going to come in with the patch tool and I'm going to, again, fix things on this clean layer. Things that are annoying, things that I don't like. Okay, we've got this line here that's running vertical. Okay, get rid of that, just clean that. Let's come over now, let's move out. Now what I want to do is I'm going to show you a little technique which I've used many times. Some people might think it's cheating because I'm not going fully the high-end method, but it works well. Let me show you this. Frequency separation. Apply the frequency separation action. Come onto the low frequency. Pick my brush. Mixer brush. Yes. And the mixer brush can be seen as a bit of a cheat method in that there is a bit of blurring going on with the mixer brush. Because what the mixer brush does is it takes color. Well, it takes the colors and it kind of merges them a bit. So, but I'm keeping the texture separated. And all I'm going to do at a very low load and a very low flow, I'm literally just going to run my brush over areas. Okay, I'm going to see how... So the flow is too low, I think, yes. So I'm just going to... Now I'm going to show you the before and after. I'm going to go really excessive so you can see what's happening. In fact, I'm going to show you this. Look at what's happening here. Do you see what happens? If I pull that colour out, you're actually smearing the colours. Now if you work with very small circles, and all I'm doing is I'm looking at areas where it's a little bit rough, you know? The colours is a little bit, the values are a little bit rough. And I'm just doing these little circles. And all this will do is it'll just clean them up, smooth them out a bit. It basically helps harmonize these patchy areas. Now I'm going to lift some of this. Again, you don't want to go excessive with this. You want to be very careful because this is where you can really mess things up. A little bit of discoloration there. I'm going to fix that. Got this dark patch down here. I'm going to pull in some of this lighter colour and then I'm going to push up with that. Just harmonise and blur them together a little bit. Did I use the word blur? Okay, not blurring, smearing them together. Clean up that chin bit area a little bit there. Now this is definitely not a perfect retouch. And even the way I've done this, it's not been perfect from start to finish. But you know what? I don't care. Because it still looks nice and I like it. Now, we've got a white spot here. I'm going to have to fix that. There's more things that have come up now I can see. There's all this down here. Let's see. I'll just pull in this darker area. I can work that there. I'll pull up this area here. We'll work that there. Still retaining the highlight and the form. We don't want to get rid of that. Nose looks okay. Let's do a little push and pull there. Eye patch colour. Still kept that cavity, like it's concave, and because that is how the eye socket is. I fill all that, she won't look like she's even got an eye socket. It'll just look randomly weird. Okay. So let's see what that's actually done. There's still a spot here. Go a bit bigger. I'm just gonna round. I've flattened it out too much. Let's just go in there. Okay. Now let's see. Let's turn this whole frequency separator. Look at this. Before, after, before, after. Let's come in a bit closer. Before, after. Skin still looks real. There's still texture there. It's not perfect. Just a little blemishes here and there. But have I done enough? Have I done enough? Got a dark patch here. Let's come back onto the frequency. Let's get the brush. Let's pull in some of the lighter colour. And let's just fix that. I'm looking over to the left to see what's going on. Let's pull. Pull and lift. Okay, that's fine. That looks good. Alright, so I can now come onto the body as well and see, do I need to do any frequency separation, mixer brush work? And this area is slightly out of focus anyway, just because of the 100mm focal length, which even though I'm shooting at f8 is still going to give you you know, you're not going to get a totally deep depth of field because you're running at 100mm. You need to be at like f16 or something, but then you need more light power and your recycle time is longer and blah 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 blah. But I don't care if this part's gone out of focus. I like that. I like that. I like the fact that the back of her PC is out of focus. This is why I like using the 100mm macro, because if I was using a 80, well, let's say a 24 to 70, I'm shooting at 70mm at f8, this in the back, this would be sharper. If I was shooting at 50mm, this would be sharper. I'm shooting at 100mm, so you are getting a little bit of a shallow depth of field, and I like the fact that the background is now going out of focus. It's nice aesthetic. Now I've come right out now, I'm zooming right out, and I'm looking at this level. Is there anything that looks odd? I'm seeing this eye, and it looks a bit swollen. I feel I just need to tease this colour, this light and dark. Just smooth it around so it's more of a little round patch. That works for me. Love the nose highlight. Chin highlights, okay. Okay, that looks good. Okay, now what I'm gonna do. Oh, that looks good. I'm gonna merge all this down again. Okay, so before, after, before, after. I don't know how long we've been going in for right now. How much we've been working on this. How long this has been going on. Let's check. 54. So we've hit almost an hour, and you know, an hour, and we've not even worked with color or anything yet. So let's just call this clean. Let's call it clean. I'm going to click Control S. I want to save my progress. Don't want any crashes, because that would be extremely annoying. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I want to fix color. So, although the skin looks good, there are little patches of colors that don't work well. So I'm going to click the new layer. I'm going to change this to color. I want to harmonize something. I'm going to get my brush. This is going to be a regular brush. I'm going to give myself a flow of 100%. I'm going to get myself a nice, large, soft brush. And I'm going to zoom in, and I'm going to sample like a neutral color. Now I'm not going to go on the eyes because there's eyeshadow. I'm not going to go on the lips. I want to pick a kind of like a neutral pink. So I'm actually going to pick here on the forehead. That's giving me this color here. Okay, and then I'm going to use that. Now if I just go really heavy, you'll see what happens. We've applied that color everywhere. Okay, that's what's happened to the face. Now, I don't want to do that. But I want to do anywhere as areas where it's getting a little bit saturated. I'm just going to apply that. Okay, I'm just going to paint that in. Any areas which might be a bit blue or the colours might be a bit odd. Like just here on her lip, got like a little bit of blue occurring. I'm just going to paint that colour. And then I can also sample a little bit closer if I feel I need to change it. Naturally, the shadows are going to be bluer because shadows just tend to be cooler. That's pretty normal. So I'm just going to kind of fix any areas. Like that was very blue in the eye. So just got that colour. I'm going to fix any colour discoloration in here. I'm going to try and fix any discoloration in the eye here. I'll just work this little colour around a bit. See, it's quite blue in this area here. So let's pick this colour. I'll just paint this in. Just reduce some of that blue. I'll paint here. And also, you'll notice the skin on the face is considerably warmer than the skin on the body. So I'm going to pick a bit of this colour and I'm going to start to paint it. But I'm going to go 50%. I'm just going to give it a little dusting. I want to try and match these colours up a little bit more. Okay, I want the body's colour to be a little bit more similar to the face colour. So if we turn that off, turn that on, turn that off, turn that on, brought those colours together a bit more. I think that works well. I will call that colour. I'll make a Command Shift E. I'm going to bring all that together. Now I'm also going to just quickly look, is there any area in the picture that I don't like that's distracting? So I'm just going to clone stamp that area there. What's going on? Why is it not working? Control D, click. Okay. It's terrible. It's getting a little bit laggy. Let me just increase the hardness here. Okay. Let's get rid of that. Little white dot here. Let's get rid of that. Let's zoom right out. Let's get rid of this guy. I like this. It's kind of just hanging down. I don't mind it sticking straight out. I like it. Doesn't bother me. Do I want to clone anything extra in though? That's the question. Do I want another flower here? And if so, which one and how am I going to make it work? So let's take this guy. Let's make a new layer. Let's get the stamp tool. Let's select this. Let's paste this in here. Kind of want it to make it look real. Let's do a Control T. Let's rotate. And let's bring it up a bit so it looks like it's sitting here. Let's go out. Does that look good, guys? What do you think? I think it looks okay. I felt we were missing something in that gap. Does it look right though? Do we want to remove it? Do we want to get rid of it? Or does it work? See, these are decisions that later on you can come back and go, oh no, it doesn't work. Shouldn't have been in there. Ooh, with or without? With or without? Oh, damn, it's a hard one. I think I'm going to leave it. I think it helps balance it out. We've got 1, 2, 3. We've got like a triangle here. Okay. Such a beautiful picture. I know I keep saying that, but there's this model, such a beautiful model. Forget the picture, it's just the model. The model smashed this so well. Okay, let's use the healing brush tool again. I'm just going to start to clean up any of these little line patches. Wow, this is another stage of healing. He's not done. No, I'm not done. This is the big thing, man. You keep coming into it. You keep seeing stuff. You fix things. You've got little blemishes. Now you can do it. But you're working from a different base, aren't you? Because you've already done all this dodging, burning, healing. And now you're refining. This is the refinement stage. This really is a nice element to refine. Just work through it. Any little areas now that are not needed, you can clean those up nicely. And it's cumulative, right? It's incremental. You're building up the changes slowly over time. You know, we're we must be an hour in now, and I'm still working on the healing. I'm not a pro retoucher. I can't do it all in one go. I have to do these stages and come back to it and then fix little things and then see them again and then fix them. But then there has to be a point where you stop because you started to overwork the image. And that's obviously, I don't want to do that. But I do recognize there are areas that are glaringly obvious that need to be fixed. And that's what I'm trying to do now. So I'm seeing these light patches down here. They need to be fixed. In fact, I'm going to change it to darken now. I'm going to darken some of these areas. That look too light. So we're going to ensure that we've got some of these in the darker areas need to remain dark. Okay, let's zoom out. Oh, nice. I love this expression, man. I've not been excited about my homework for ages, but I am now. Okay, Command-Shift-E. Merge all this down. Control-S. Let's save that. Let's see where we're at. 1 hour and 3 minutes. And if you've been with me for this long, well done, mate. Well done. Right, we'll just let this save down here in the corner. That's saving. Okay. Now, let's see what else we want to do. Do we want to get rid of these hairs on this side? No. Do I want to clean up these hairs here? No. Do I want to clean up the hairs up here? No, I don't want to clean up any hairs. Why? Because I like it the way it is. It's beautiful. I don't want to clean up any little ruffles here. I like that. Shoulder. Shoulder's fine. Right. That's that. Okay. I want to increase the highlight intensity. Let me show you this technique. I'm going to go select, color range. And in the previous edit I selected these highlights. So they're already selected. I just used the eyedropper and selected them. These are the brightest points of the picture. Click OK. Make a new layer. Default. I'm going to fill that. Oh, not with white. Control Z. Fill that with white. Control D. Filter. Blur. Gaussian blur. I want to blur these out a bit. Okay. And then I want to change the blending mode to hard light. And I want to get rid of it. Okay. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it in. Slowly. Ever so slowly. Let's zoom in. That's 3%. Off. On. Off. On. Right, it's a 3% boost in highlight. That's it. Just adds that little punch. Okay, I like that. Control Shift E. Let's get into the grade. Filter. Alien Skin. Exposure X2. You guys know how much I love this. There you go. Boom. I've applied it. This is the preset I used previously. And look at that. Jesus Christ, I mean, why on earth would you want to not use this program to grade and create that vintage look? Why? Someone tell me, especially when you can adjust everything here. If it's not perfect, everything. I'm applying that. Bang. Wow. Look at that. Just look at it. God damn. Now, so beautiful. Let's make a copy of that. I'm going to show you a nice little technique here. I'm going to bring in the dodge tool. I'm going to pick highlights. I'm going to bring the exposure to like 10%. And then I'm going to come into the eyebrows here. Eyebrows. Let's come over, pick that dodge tool here. And I'm essentially going to paint a little bit of light on the eyelashes. Let's go a bit stronger here. I mean, just essentially lightening the eyelashes. And I'm looking over to the left as well. The eyelashes on the left are actually lighter than the eyelashes on the right anyway to start with. You'll see the before and the after. I've kind of just balanced them out a bit, which to me looks good. I like it. Okay. Now, what else? I need to have a look at the other image that I worked on before. I need to see. I want to zoom in and to see anything. Okay, the eyes, of course, but I don't need to work on the eyes because we don't see her eyes. The lips are fine, nose, anything else I did, because I want to match these guys up. No, that's it. Okay, edit is done. Final stage, Command Shift E. No, what am I doing? That's it. Final stage, Control J. So this was the X2, this was the eyelashes. And final layer is a sharpen layer. I'm using Filter, Nick Collection, Output Sharpener, amazing sharpening tool. I'll let that run. It will come in here. Don't need an update. I'll go through, and I always keep it at the default sharpening, which is normally too much. I'll just click OK for now. It's going to over sharpen the picture, but I'm going to mask in the sharpening where I want it. Not that it needs any sharpening, because it's already beautifully sharp where it needs to be, but I'm just going to add a little bit more, just to make a few little extra details pop. And then we'll be good. Okay, so you can see that's sharpened everything. I'm going to hold down the Alt key, hit the mask tool. That's going to give me a black mask, which is going to remove the effect. Remember, black reveals. Think about black like Batman. Batman, it comes out at night. He wears a black mask to hide his identity. So we've used a black mask. We've hidden the effect. Then we use the white mask, or the white brush, sorry, to bring it back. And I'm only going to use a 30% opacity, and I'm just going to tap a bit on the nose, tap on the lips, tap a bit on the chin, the cheek, chin. I'm going to tap a bit on the flower. I'm going to bring a bit of sharpening into the eyebrow, a little bit here, a little bit on the bottom of the lip, a little bit on the eyelid, eyelash, flower again. Selective sharpening. I'm going to keep the neck area relatively soft, maybe a little bit just down the middle. Okay, sharpening done. Okay, that's it. We are complete. I hope you've enjoyed this retouch. Let's do the Before and after. Everyone loves a before and after. Let's close that guy. Let's just stick with this here. Here we are. Before. After. Before. After. We've in no way changed the way the model's face looks. It's still her. It's her identity. She looks like that. But what we have done is we've selectively enhanced and basically turned what was a beautiful picture into what is a emotive piece of artwork. Thank you all for watching, and thank you for sticking with me through this retouch. If you appreciated my time, if you enjoyed the retouch, if you learned something, then, you know, leave a comment, man. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the like button. Share the video. Do the right thing. Thanks for watching. As always, take care. I'll see you in the next one.